Summary of the Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. During the Great Depression, drought and dust storms in Oklahoma caused by the Dust Bowl wrecked farmers' crops and made it hard for them to make a living. Tom Joad is a young guy who comes from a farming family. He just got out of jail after 4 years for killing someone. When Tom goes home, he runs into Jim Casey, a former priest he knew as a child. Casey doesn't talk about good and bad anymore. Instead, he thinks that the unity and equality of the human spirit is the most important thing. Tom and Casey go back to the Joad farm together, but they find that it has been left empty. Muley Graves, a neighbor who stayed behind, tells the two men that all of the farmers have been kicked off their land by the landlords and banks, who now use tractors to work it. Muley tells the men that they can find Tom's family at Uncle John's house. Uncle John is Pa Joad's brother and Tom's father. When Tom and Casey get to Uncle John's, they find the Joads getting ready to leave for California by loading up a car. Pa Joad says that the family saw handbills advertising jobs picking fruit, so they are going west to take advantage of these chances. Once the Joads are on the road, they make friends with a migrant couple named Ivy and Sari Wilson. Soon after, the cranky Grandpa Joad has a stroke and dies. The Wilsons travel with the Joads until they reach the border of California. At that point, Sari gets too sick to keep going. Tom's bigger brother, Noah, leaves the family at this border and decides to live on his own. On their way to California, the Joads hear bad news about how few jobs there are and how people treat Okies badly. Once the family gets to the state, they find out that these stories are true, and their hard times keep going. As the family travels through the Mojave Desert, Grandma Joad dies. The family is forced to live in a Hooverville, a squalid tent city named after President Herbert Hoover, where refugees live at the whim of shady contractors and corrupt cops. At this camp, Tom's sister Rose of Sharon's husband, Connie Rivers, leaves the Joads. Tom and a friend from the Hooverville get into a fight with a policeman when they try to get a worker to pay them more. Tom runs away, and Casey is happy to take the blame for the fight. The preacher is taken into prison after being caught. The Joads leave Hooverville and go to a government-run camp that is nicer and safer. Instead of cops, the camp is run by a group of migrants who were chosen by them. The Joads find some comfort and friendship at this camp, but only Tom can get a job there. One day, Tom finds out that the Greedy Farmers Association is working with crooked sheriffs to start a fight at a dance that is coming up. This will give the judges a reason to destroy the camp, making it harder for the workers to get what they want. But Tom and a few other guys stop this attack in a quiet way, saving the camp. The money the Joads make at the camp isn't enough to keep them alive. They leave to look for work elsewhere and find a peach-picking property. While other migrants are on strike outside the gates, they are hired to work there. Tom finds out that Casey is the one who put together the strike. Just as Tom and Casey are getting back together, the cops find them and one of them kills Casey with a pickaxe in front of Tom. Tom kills the police officer and then goes into hiding. The Joads leave to pick cotton and live out of a boxcar, while Tom hides in the woods nearby. The family has enough money to eat pretty well, and Tom's younger brother Al is engaged to their next-door neighbor's daughter. When it starts to pour, the Joads can't go to a hospital or find a nurse, so they have to stay in the boxcar while Rose of Sharon gives birth. Rose of Sharon gives birth to a stillborn baby, and her family runs away to a nearby barn to get away from the flooding. They find a boy and his father who are both hungry. Ma Joad finds out that Rose of Sharon is breastfeeding, so she tells the rest of the family to leave while Rose of Sharon feeds the hungry man.
About the author. Steinbeck was raised in a rural community and worked on ranches with migrant laborers. In 1920, he went to Stanford University, but he never finished. Instead, he moved to New York and tried to make a living as a writer. He had trouble getting his writings published, though, so he went back to California and worked a number of physical jobs while writing. Steinbeck's first book to do well was Tortilla Flat, which was published in 1935. It tells the story of a group of Mexican Americans in Monterey, California. In the years that followed, Steinbeck wrote a number of books about the good and bad parts of farming life. Of Mice and Men, written in 1937, is the most well-known of these. Steinbeck's book The Grapes of Wrath came out in 1939. It won him a lot of praise, including the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award. After The Grapes of Wrath did well, Steinbeck went on to write other important books, such as East of Eden, which came out in 1952. Steinbeck died in New York City in 1968.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.